Shawn Ashmore, Halle, Ian McKellen, Patrick Stewart, director Bryan Singer, Hugh Jackman, James McAvoy. There he is, James McAvoy. Michael Fassbender, Jennifer Lawrence, Nicholas Hoult, Peter Dinklage, Evan Peters, and producers Lauren Schuler-Donner and Hutch Parker.
Let's waste no time and let's get started. First question. Sure.
Hello, everybody.
Hello.
I'm Melissa Molina from Latino Review. Hello. This question is for Mr. Singer and for the writer. What kind of challenges did you have to go through dealing with such a beloved story arc? And also, I'm really curious, just as a general X-Men fan, how much of a role Kitty Pryde has in Days of Future Past.
Do you want to start, Simon?
I'm on this side.
Oh, there you go.
It's a lot of people. It was important to us, obviously, as Bryan has been in the past, to be really loyal to the original books, and this is one of the most beloved storylines, and it's beloved by us as well. So I think in approaching any adaptation of a comic, it's about figuring out what's fundamental about the characters and themes from the original run. And so we were loyal to those characters and themes and a lot of storytelling. The biggest difference is that Kitty is not the one who goes back in time. Kitty is the one who sends someone back in time. And so, as people will see in our reel today, it's Wolverine that goes back in time. And that was the biggest change.
Check. Yeah, it was a decision. I mean, initially, it began with the goal was to try to make a film that would bring these casts together in some way, and a time travel or time displacement of some kind. Define displacement. But would be a tool that we could use to do that. And then it seemed exciting to be able to send Hugh. Basically, the notion is Hugh of the future, or Wolverine of the future, is sent into his consciousness is sent into his younger self. And it's nice because Hugh was able to play both parts because the character of Wolverine is ageless, which is extremely unique. And it was great to be able to place him in both these worlds as a character, and to for me to reunite with this original cast and to get to work as a director with the new cast. So
thank you.
Sure.
Hi, Jamie Philbrook with IamRogue.com. I wanted to ask the original trilogy actors, what's it feel like to return to these characters after so long? And for the new first-class actors, what's it like for you guys to get to mix with the original cast actors?
They've just heard me talking. That's enough. They're bored of me, very bored of me.
Oh, you just did the Wolverine.
Yeah, we just did the Wolverine.
How'd it go?
Well, it wasn't as big a crowd as it is now.
Yeah.
But
Well, these things have a strange life because you start out and it could just be a movie and that's it, and hello and goodbye. But then it develops its own life force. And by the way, that was a movie I made with...
I saw it in a blink of an eye.
Who directed that movie, you remember?
Toby Hooper.
Toby Hooper,
yeah.
I never saw it.
Nerd and proud.
The best part about this movie has been for me knowing that at an earlier time in my life I was James McAvoy.
Thank you for saying that, Patrick. And if I have to grow up into being somebody, how cool is it to grow up to be Sir Patrick Stewart, star of stage and screen? So it's a big kick getting to work with Patrick. I got to be in the same room as Ian and Hugh and Ellen and everybody, and Shawn and stuff, but I actually got to act with Patrick, and I've been a fan of his for years. So it was a real kick. But just dramatically, getting to kind of, the whole idea behind First Class, kind of rejigging, rebooting, but also showing who we were when we were younger. I never thought for a second I'd actually get to work with Patrick, so that was just quite interesting to show the two opposite sides of these people at different times in their lives and their personal adventure,
I'm looking forward one day to being as dashing and successful as Michael Fassbender. And but we can't really believe our luck, can we? That we're still allowed out, and also the playing a character over 2, 3. Is it this 4 films we've been in now? Or is it 4 films I've made with you, Bryan? I'm never quite sure, but both. Okay. It's fun to go back to the character and realise that he's still lurking inside you. But these stories are so need to be told. That's what I like about the X-Men. These aren't casual movies. These aren't summer vacation movies. They're classics, and to be allowed to be associated with them is a genuine honour, and it doesn't matter how little I have to do in the next one, Bryan. I'll be ready and waiting.
Here, me too.
Here.
And I think it's nice. I mean, we can, we all love the films, but what's nice for me is that in the first movie, we all became such good friends. And we really like each other, and we like being around each other. So to have a chance to do the work that we love, but to hang out with the people that we really admire, respect, and like to be around, for me, is the joy of coming back to do these movies. And the beauty is, because we are good friends, we pick up as if we just saw each other yesterday. And I was really happy to see everybody and meet the new cast, but hang out with my old friends that I really love a lot.
Jennifer, you have any comment?
I hate being laughed and like. Oh, hello. Sorry. This tastes really good. Sorry, like a. Oh, God. Sorry. It's really the same as what everyone was saying. We became so close on First Class, and I had, after I got the movie, I went and watched all of them, and am a recent but huge fan. And I never thought that I would even be able to meet some of the original cast, so it's really great. I'm sorry. I got so thrown by hitting myself in the face with the microphone that I can't even believe I managed to get an answer out. Sorry.
It was cool when Nick and Jen walked on the, because she happened to do a fitting the day we were in the old hall. I built the old hallways from the X-Men 1, 2, and 3. This is the 4th time we've built these old blue hallways, and they're kind of iconic a little bit in the X-Men films now. So when you guys, it was really fun when they walked on the set, because they'd been in an X-Men movie, but not with those hallways or with Hugh as Wolverine.
Yeah, there really wasn't a lot of familiar stuff.
Yeah, and you were standing in the hallway, and we were looking at one of your costumes, and then you were like, "Can I see Cerebro?" I was like, "Sure, I'll show you Cerebro."
That's not a euphemism, by the way.
Yeah.
She was already cast at this point.
How about you, Ellen? You have 2 cents to add on your experience working, Ellen?
Me?
Yes.
Oh, yeah. I mean, what's funny is I was just in the 3rd one, and it was 18. It feels like a while ago, and I just done really a movie called Hard Candy, and was on the set and had never been involved with anything of remotely that scale, and just felt so welcome by such obviously not just an incredibly talented group of people, but just like the loveliest, sweetest people who were so kind. And never did I think I'd be back playing Kitty Pryde again. So I was just so thrilled to be back with everyone and exploring something new and something very different, and just had a great time every day working with everybody.
Okay, how about one more? Nicholas, you have any thoughts to add about the experience of working with the old cast and the cast?
Yeah, no, it was what Bryan was saying. When we walked into those old corridors, and for the first time when we were doing a scene, I looked over during a take and looked over and saw Hugh Jackman as Wolverine, and I sat there and I panicked and I was like, freaked out a little bit. Because those were films that I grew up watching. So it was fascinating because, the first class film didn't, even though it was an X-Men movie, it didn't feel like the X-Men movies that I knew. So it was very exciting and nice to be back with everyone and to have some new friends.
Don't look at me.
I had a weird experience when I did Narnia. I walked into KNB, the prosthetics house in LA, to get my Mr. Tumnus stuff all sorted out and do headcasts and all that. And in that room was like a massive lion, and it was Aslan. And I'd been a huge fan of these books growing up and all that kind of stuff. And I saw Aslan, and I went down on my knees and I went, "My king," you know what I mean? And I've never really had that experience again in my career. But weirdly, with doing my first scenes with you guys and Hugh and Patrick and Ian and all that, whilst I didn't go down on my knees at any point, if you know what I mean, it did feel a little bit like I was touching kind of like an icon here. Do you know what I mean? It was the closest I've come to that. And I was touching their icons whilst I was on my knees.
That always
wow.
feels.
It's crazy how this stuff creeps up on you.
All right, let's move on to next question.
Hi, guys. My name is Carlos from Comic Mania. And of course, I have a comic book radio show. And one of the questions one of the first things I need to say is, Bryan, it's great to have you back.
Thank you.
All the fans in the world missed you.
Thank you.
We really did. That X-Men 3, let me tell you. But one of the things that I get asked on my show, it's one of the silly, stupid rumors that are always floating out on the internet. And one of them is that you're going to play with the continuity of the series and erase completely X-Men 3, which I think is ridiculous. But is there any truth to any of those kind of things about changing the continuity of the movie universe of the X-Men?
Of the universe as established in the movies?
Yes.
Yes, there's some of that.
Okay.
Whenever you're going back in time, and this is every bit as much a time travel movie as it is an X-Men movie, there is those risks. And yet there are certain, so some of that's going to happen, and yet there are some things that, if you believe in certain physics and multiverses and in things like that, and then you also have a respect for the continuity as we have it. And mine is I'm less so entrapped in those previous films. Again, I'm not the audience, I'm just the filmmaker. But I do believe in certain continuity that will maintain, but some things will change. Okay. It's the nature of time travel. You go back and mess about, things happen. So that's something that some of those rumors are probably somewhat true.
Okay, well, I hope you bring Cyclops back because he's my favorite character.
Okay.
Thank you very much.
Ali, you want to do the next question?
Hi there. I was just wondering, James, you just alluded to it. Will there be much acting with the younger versions of the characters in the same scene as the older versions? Because if so, that would be good.
That would be well good.
Will there be interaction? Primarily, since Wolverine is the journeyman, his interaction with the younger cast is primary. There is a moment which you'll see a beat of in this reel I'm going to show, where these two characters come face to face with younger self, older self. And we try to do it in a unique way. It's been done before, but my first opportunity to make a time travel movie really wanted to do my very best to create a set of rules and respect them and stay within the continuity of those rules. But there's a bit of interaction like that.
Next question.
Awesome. Now I know all you guys get along because you talked about how you were friends. Not to put you on the spot or anything, but Hugh, besides Wolverine, who is your favorite character on X-Men besides yours?
Come on, mate, man up. Don't be afraid. No pressure.
Yeah, there's no pressure here. Listen, it's a very difficult thing to storm. It's a very, very difficult thing to say. Who is my favorite? But it's also a hard storm to kind of separate an actor from a part storm. So my general rule is do as many storm movies with Halle Berry as possible. Is that all right to say? We're both married, and it's listen, going back to the first question, I know that was a facetious question, I presume, but Going back to the very first question, I'm in a perhaps unique position on this panel because the very first film I did in America was given to me by this man, and the film was X-Men 1. That was 14 years ago, pretty much got cast. It's almost impossible to believe. Like, I think everyone on this side of Bryan feels how incredibly unique, rare, lucky, and blessed we are to be able to, 14 years later, come back together. I mean, we all knew each other. You guys knew me before I had kids. My son was born just as we were making first one. I mean, so much has changed. We've gone through together. And if you were lucky enough in your life to be in a film with just these actors, you would count yourself about as lucky as can be as an actor. If you look to the right of Bryan, you see an unbelievable... Yeah. It's a whole...
He's all that. Just
yeah.
I was like, what's he going to say?
Then you realise this is what you get paid for, to work with them, right? No. In honest truth, this movie is two great movies in one. I can't believe the embarrassment of riches that I have, that I get to work with all of them here. And so the truth of the matter is, you will never get me to say who my favourite is. Storm.
Yes. It's also nice, just things like when we started, even though they're both theater icons, Patrick and Ian, they didn't really know each other much, and bringing them together on this science fiction comic book movie, now they do. They work together in the theater. They've done incredible shows together. They're doing Waiting for Godot and No Man's Land soon, which is going to be amazing on Broadway, and so, together. And that theater moment is a function of this comic book film, and that's kind of cool in a theater-loving way, which is, is one of the many effects.
That's absolutely true. Yeah. So Michael and James, what about working together in the theatre?
Yeah,
you want to do a play?
What about playing our matinees for us?
You want to do play and stuff?
Yeah, we'll do the matinee. That's perfect.
Anka, next question.
I think I speak for the room when I say this is breathtaking to see you all on the stage here. So can you talk a little bit more about the first reaction you had when you even heard of this project? Did you think this is insane? Did you think this is impossible? Did you think this is about time this happened? Because this is not your regular sequel. This is more than just one sequel.
It's an in-betweequel. It really is. An in-betweequel.
Well, it's in the spirit of the comics, isn't it? I mean, the comics go forward and back, and they change the history, and you're never quite sure where you are. They change the look of the characters. I mean, and the movies are in the mayhem of the X-Men world, but running through it all, of course, is this very important story, a very important message. It's about our lives, however fantastic the characters are. All right?
I heard about this movie, and I was immediately filled with such sadness because most of you probably won't recall, but at the end of 3, I was vaporized by Jean Grey. And that really hurt, by the way. It was, I hope it never has to happen to any of you. And so my assumption was, well, there's going to be Ian and Halle and Hugh and everybody back, but it won't be me. But something happened, which I am not allowed to talk about. Am I? Or you can if you want to.
No, we just characters come back to life in comic. I just have to whenever I do something, I can't just do it flippantly. I have to at least believe in I have to believe that in the idea, the conceit. So in my own mind, I understand how Xavier is alive from X-Men 3. There's a beat at the end of X-Men 3 after the credits when his consciousness is sort of inside of this woman in a hospital. And then you take that, you mix it with some powerful mutants. And mutants can do a lot of cool stuff, so you can imagine anything's possible.
So does that mean that Xavier is back, Bryan?
For the moment.
That should be the tagline for the film. X-Men. Xavier is back.
For the moment. For the moment.
Just your face like a machine gun.
Catch it.
But this is science fiction, and a moment can be anything you want it to be.
Yeah, just, yeah. Well,
We're digging a deep hole here, guys.
But in seriousness to that, what another thing about this movie that's different from the previous X-Men films is there's a science fiction aspect to it as well. There's technologies. There's the Sentinel program, which is something that's going to be part of the picture. So you've got the time travel and the science fiction elements are things that haven't been as explored in X-Men films in the past. So that also made it a challenge and fun and unique.
We have time for about one more question.
All right. I wanted to ask you guys about the costumes this time around, how you felt in them. There's a lot of 70s gear. You're back in your Storm outfit while pregnant.
He hates them.
You're basically naked this whole time. After wearing the costume in the last one, now you're full blue.
She's pregnant, I'm naked.
Sounds like a
Come
great
see
movie.
the movie. It's great. We all really love. I mean, well, I can't speak for everybody, but I personally love the 70s. The moments that I do get to wear the 70s clothes, I really enjoy them because I like that time and I like wearing clothes when I can. And then the mystique stuff. Some of the look is a little bit different, but we're still using same paint. There are so many times where I wish I could just walk away.
Yeah, Jen wanted to make sure that this Mystique was a less innocent, evolved, getting closer to where Mystique was in X-Men 2.
Well, she's also more comfortable. I mean, she, when we left the movie, she was mutant and proud. In the first, she was kind of struggling with that problem that a lot of normal human people struggle with being insecure about how they look. So she was very covered up in the first movie, but this time she is mutant and proud.
My threads are awesome, to answer that. Lots of flares, chunky shoes, psychedelic shirts. There's a lot of brown jackets going on. But with very violently coloured psychedelia-inspired shirts underneath. You're going to love it.
There's some very cool, again, just hit me if I'm saying anything I shouldn't, but in the future, the X-Men suits are really, I'm just pausing in case I'm going too far, are unbelievable. First of all, hell of a lot more comfortable to wear than X-Men 1 and 2, but they look really amazing. And people in the future wear suits who've never worn suits before, that's all I'm going to say.
Yeah, Louise is pretty amazing, isn't she? She's... it's a very collaborative thing. That's the one thing that I've sort of found on the project as a whole, not just sort of, through sort of the clothes that we wear, the sort of Magneto sort of outfit, being on set.
Do you get to wear the helmet?
Oh yes.
And
because the best thing about playing the older Magneto this time, no helmet.
You don't like the helmet?
No.
When you have a face like that, who needs a helmet?
We'll talk about helmets later, shall we?
We need you to get to Hall H, but before you go, if we could get a group photo.